right. Good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Jess Peterson. Let's go in and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to be talking about tonight. Obviously, we will talk about the weather for tonight, also our current conditions, what's going on right now throughout the state. We also will talk about the tropics. Tropics also a big concern, and then what's going on throughout the short-term future. And we're even going to talk about our patterns as well, what's going on in terms of, like the upper air, a mass, low pressure, high pressure, ridges, trough, stuff like that. We're going to look at all that. But first, before we get into all that, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you go on and do so. We've had 6 people tune in so far. We only have 5 likes, so not bad, but we can do better. Go on and hit that like button and also the subscribe button. We're at 583 trying to get to 600. We are 17 away from that main goal of 600 subscribers. So we're close. We just need to get there. But without further ado, let's go on and get started. Starting off first, what's going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina? We do in fact have some rainfall up here just to the north of York, inside of South Carolina, even going inside of North Carolina. Rainfall also going on near Clemson, Seneca, and then even towards central South Carolina, and the Sumter National Forest is receiving some rainfall right now as we speak. But what about the entire U.S., the entire United States? What's going on here? We have some rainfall that goes on not only inside of Virginia, but Delaware, as well as Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all getting some of that rainfall, and that's due to that low pressure that we've been watching that's off the coast of the east, that's causing this rain to come in, even causing some rain inside of South Carolina as well. This moisture right here, all is coming from this low pressure out here. We have severe storms going on in Iowa, and even some damage reports coming out of Arkansas, Louisiana getting some of that rainfall. Some damage reports going on inside of Kansas as 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts moving through there, as severe thunderstorm warnings are as well. Montana getting some rainfall, and even in the Four Corners region getting some rainfall. And yes, you do see that correctly. That is a winter weather advisory out for Montana. 1 to 3 inches of ice accumulate, or is that ice? No, snow. 1 to 3 inches of snow is expected in southern Montana. So the winter weather radar is not back yet, because it is still summertime. But yes, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall of snowfall is actually expected inside of southern Montana. What about our cloud cover? We do have some low clouds going on right now throughout the upstate. Same thing with parts of the Midlands as well. Low country, PD, Grand Strand looks relatively nice for this time frame right here. What about our future? As we go on and push this forward, you can see that cloud cover kind of stays in the upstate / Midland area. It doesn't quite get too much inside the low country. It gets a bit into the PD a little bit. As you go into tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, but just as you continue it even more all the way into tomorrow afternoon / evening, a lot of that cloud cover gets going in parts of the upstate, the low country, southern Midlands as well. Current temperatures right now, 72 in Columbia as well as 72 in Orangeburg, 73 in Somerville as well as 71 in Georgetown, 72 in Murrells Inlet as well as 67 in Conway, 71 in Myrtle Beach and 69 in North Myrtle Beach. We also do have 75 in Charleston, and then even 72 inside of Aiken. We even have our current temperatures up here in the upstate around 69 in Greenville, 68 in Clemson, even 69 in Anderson and Spartanburg. Also, same thing for Gaffney, York, and Rock Hill. What about our low temperatures? Low temperatures tonight, 59 in Spartanburg and 58 in Rock Hill, 59 in Camden, even 61 in Columbia, 61 in Orangeburg and 60 inside of Barnwell and Walterboro, 61 in Moncks Corner and 66 in Charleston, 69 in Hilton Head Island, even 59 in Georgetown, 61 in Myrtle Beach, and then some other areas. But for the most part, we're seeing inside of the mid-50s. Going inside of, yes, the mid-50s, going into the high 60s, maybe even low 70s. For rainfall, not too much. 1/10 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch is possible for some areas up there inside the upstate, maybe even 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch as well for other parts of the upstate as well. But for the most part, that's all that we're seeing in terms of accumulation as we move through the next 24 hours. The crazy score for tonight, we're at a 13 inside the calm category. No significant weather is expected. light clouds or clear skies. And honestly, I think that we go a little bit higher than that. At least mild category. The reason why, mostly dry conditions. I mean, obviously there will be some rainfall that occurs, especially right there near that North Carolina, South Carolina border in the upstate. But it's going to be cold and mild. Patchy fog is possible with light northwest winds, and lingering moisture may cause some patchy mountain valley fog. But overall, just a stable atmosphere. SPC outlook for tonight, still a little thunderstorm risk up there inside the upstate, but I think that that's probably going to go away soon, as we only have like a little, maybe like a little shower / downpour going on up there near Walhalla, Seneca, Clemson. We were just talking about it earlier. But in terms of thunder activity right now, it's not causing any thunder activity right now, according to the MRMS. Now for tomorrow, no thunderstorm risk is expected for tomorrow, and day 3 on Thursday, no thunderstorms are expected on Thursday either. No excessive rainfall is expected as well, so we are good there. And so now let's go on and get into my soliloquy part, where we go on and talk about the models. Time is in the top right corner of your screen. So, starting off, just what I want you to look at right now, you have all of this isolated shower / downpour activity going on as you move into around 9 p.m. And if you go on and just continue to push this forward, you get to around 11, 12 a.m. and you're starting to see that decrease. You're not seeing too much in terms of any sort of shower activity. Now, going into around 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 a.m., some more activity pops up. Again, it's nothing that anybody needs to really worry about, because, I mean, it will be 4 a.m., but some people, might be up, might be going to work or something like that, 4 a.m. So it's possible up there inside the upstate that you might need some rain gear, but it's isolated, and it's not going to be too widespread. So is it something that you're going to want to keep in mind if you are up this morning up there inside the far upstate? Yes, absolutely. But I don't really think that you need to bring like your rain gear with you, because it's going to be like just a deluge of rainfall as you move through tonight. Now, continuing on to around 5, 6, 7 a.m., you're still seeing shower activity, but this time it's actually moving more into the southwestern direction, more into the Midland area. So that will continue as it moves its way through, all the way to 8, 9 a.m. We're still seeing shower activity in the Midlands. And then by 11 to 12 p.m., we start getting some rainfall down here inside of the low country as well, around 12 p.m., going even into around 1 p.m. You see rainfall goes on in the low country areas, all the way from the western low country along that South Carolina-Georgia border, all the way into the Tri-County area with Dorchester and Berkeley County. But what about even further into the future? So we're going to start off here at 2 p.m. You can still see the rainfall that you saw down there inside of the low country. Again, nothing really to be worried about in terms of like thunderstorm activity, but something to just keep in mind for. Going on to 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 p.m., rainfall starts to try to get back going into the upstate as well. Same thing with the low country as you get into around 8 p.m. And then it kind of goes away again, kind of like pops up for just a little second, but then goes right back away as that last bit of moisture is there. And again, all of this moisture is coming from this low pressure over here just near Virginia, just near Maryland, just near Delaware. And things dry out a lot as we get into the night of Wednesday night going into Thursday morning. Things dry out a lot. Will there still be isolated shower activity even early in the morning? Probably. But it's not looking much different in terms of what I've already said. So it seems to be staying around the same. I mean, going 7, 8, 9 a.m., you still are seeing shower and downpour activity potentially inside the Midlands, but again, I'm not really seeing anything too much different, even as you go into Thursday afternoon. Now, what about our long-term future? That's it for the short-term future. So just isolated shower / downpour activity continues as we go through the next 48 hours for a lot of the regions. PD is a region that I saw that was pretty left out, even though it's probably the closest area to the low pressure. I didn't really see too much from the actual from the actual model and from the PD and in the PD area. If I go in and check real quick, yeah, you're not. I mean, you're seeing some, like I said, the upstate, Midlands, Low Country, but once you get to around the PD and Grand Train area, you're not seeing too much at all. But back on over here, this is where the GFS is. This is our long-term future. As we push this forward, you can see that that isolated shower and downpour activity continues all the way through to around September 20th, September 21st, September 22nd. And then it really starts to turn into a coastal show as you continue through 22nd, 23rd, 24th, maybe even going to the 25th as well. You're seeing some rainfall now going on inside of the upstate. And this time it might try to take over a big portion of the state, as we might be talking about more rainfall at the same time throughout most of the state instead of talking about one region or the other region or the other region after that. And that lasts through pretty much most of the day of September 25th, so that's the day definitely to keep your eye out for, September. But then once you move to the 26th, 27th, 26th looks pretty active, 27th looks a lot drier. And just those last couple of days of September that I've always just been keeping an eye out for, and as we've been talking about every single night at this point, how these last couple of days of September just have been flip-flopping back and forth from active to not active to active to not active, but they are still 300 hours out. September 29th, that's the 300-hour mark, so we really can't go any further than that, but we can talk about patterns, and like I said, it seems to be a bit active, but not as active as it once was. But that's all that I have for the long term. I do want to talk about just our upper atmosphere. And you can see right here, there goes the low pressure right there. Let me go in and get this down here. There goes the low pressure right there. And that's why we have this little yellow area over here, because that low pressure around 8 o'clock in the morning was pretty close to us and was definitely giving us a break inside of our ridge that we had. Now, if you continue all the way into tomorrow and into the 18th, you can see that for the most part, that low pressure moves out and a ridge starts to build as you go into around like September the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd. But then as you get into around like the 24th, we kind of stay in that same like orange zone. We don't really get too much in the red, and I probably should explain. The red, which let me go in and do this real quick. The red, oranges, you know, that's more of a ridge. That's the more nice weather, more warmer weather. And then up there inside of like the green, the yellows, that's more the low pressure. That's more unsettled / cooler weather. Now, this one right here says that we'll be inside of not really like a huge ridge or anything like that, but it's definitely not going to be, I would honestly say, unstable, like an unstable atmosphere or anything like that. Now, does that mean that we're not going to get rainfall? Absolutely, that does not mean that at all. You can just see as we have this little ridge start to kind of work out, but it doesn't quite make it until around like another low pressure tries to get into like the early part of October. But just as you just go in and go through that time frame from now until around like the 25th, you can see that, I mean, it's pretty, for the most part, quiet, but just continuing all the way to the 24th, 25th, and then once we get to the 26th, which is the next day after, that's when we get a good amount of that rainfall. Even into parts of the 25th, we get some of that rainfall as well. So, actually, I believe it was the 24th, not the 25th. But for the most part, we're not seeing anything too active, and that's because, well, we're not really inside of an unstable atmosphere. But that's what I wanted to say there, and how it's going to be not really too active as we go through like the next 8 days or so, pretty much like the next week, but there will be still some rainfall. What about the tropics now? Tropics is a huge area that a lot of people are starting to zone in on now, because now we have 2 areas to watch for now. But we have disturbance 1 over here. This is the one that we've been tracking for a good little bit now. Showers and thunderstorms associated with an elongated area of low pressure located about midway between the Windward Islands and the Cabo Verde Islands have changed little in organization during the past 12 hours or so. However, environmental conditions are conducive for additional development, and a tropical depression or storm is expected to form in the next day or two as the system moves west to northwest at around 10 to 15 miles per hour over the central tropical Atlantic. Additional information on the system, including including gale warnings, can be found in high seas forecast issued by the National Weather Service. So, this has a 90% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance of forming over the next 7 days. And one thing that I will say is that it is an invest, meaning that it is something that we do have to indeed look at and watch for. But just starting off here, this is what it looks like right now. This is currently what it looks like. But you can see how it's trying to get a little bit more organized. You have kind of like these outer band areas, but it's not really outer band. It's just like a bunch of rainfall going on. And then you have that middle center area over here that's trying to most likely get more organized. Now, what about the global hurricane models? And this is a good sign for us, as most of them have it curving. Most of them have it curving. Does that mean it will curve? Well, it's looking more likely now, but that is still around 168 hours out. That's not quite 7 days out. Not quite 7 days. Just a bit under. But this is a good sign, nonetheless. Going even into the GFS. GFS is almost the same way. It has the more stronger systems kind of curving a little bit more earlier, and then you have the more weaker ones curving a little bit later. You have a little strong one right here that continues to move its way west, but that's a major outlier. But most of them have that curve occurring. Even into the GEPS, this one, same thing, has it curving pretty early before it even gets to us. So this is looking like a more and more likely scenario that it won't really impact us too much. Even into the intensity guidance, you can see that most of them definitely have it getting to a tropical storm. Like, this will most likely turn into a tropical storm. And will it turn into a hurricane, though? That's a good question. Some have it getting up to a category 1, some have it getting up to a category 2, and it's maybe even a category 3 is potentially possible as you move through the next 160 hours or so. So that's what we're looking at there. One thing that I do also want to talk about before we go on and move on to the next area, as I go in and set you guys over there real quick, is that if you go in and look at the actual GFS itself, it kind of agrees with what's going on with that area. If you go into the models, right, you can see the rainfall over here. That is due to the rainfall over here, and for the most part, that is due to the hurricane over there. And for the most part, it looks like that it has it taking that pretty early curve out before it really impacts us a lot. You can even go over into the actual radar itself and see that that thing is very far out to sea, and most likely would not cause us anything. That's not the only one either. The Euro doesn't even have it. I don't even know where it is. Oh, it's all the way over there. You can't even see it on this one because it's so far west. The CMC, that one kind of has to get a little bit further west, but not quite west enough to really cause us anything. It actually has another area down here as well. The Icon, this one actually does not go far out enough, but you can actually see it, but it's down there at the bottom. So for that one, not really showing too much either. So I think that this one, we're more and more to saying that this won't impact us, but we're not quite there quite yet, because still anything can happen with this. But I am getting more and more confident that this won't really impact us much. Now, the one behind it is a good question as well. Disturbance number 2. It says a tropical wave located about a couple hundred miles southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands is producing an area of disorganized showers and thunderstorm activity. Some slow development of the system is possible towards the latter part of this week as it moves west at 15 to 20 miles per hour, moving from the eastern to the central portion of the tropical Atlantic. So this has a 10% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 20% chance of forming over the next 7 days. Now, there's not an invest for this one, so we can't really say too much on this specific storm. But if we go in and look at the actual ensembles for it and see what they are saying, see what the models are saying for this just one system right here, most of them, you can actually kind of see it on my screen right now. See all the low pressures down here on the bottom right side. This is the one that this is the invest, so don't worry about this, but worry about this one over here. As you go in and push that forward, you can see that most of them have it going. And the Euro also, again, another model that you can look at here. That shows that the ones from the invest actually curve a lot earlier. But the one that we're watching for, the Euro just has it dying out. Has it completely dying out, not doing anything at all really for us. But look at the one behind it as well. And this is just that time frame where we're getting tropical, kind of like a tropical wave after tropical wave, to where we're having multiple come out at the same time. And that one kind of does the same thing as this one. Curves out early. And that's just been the theme pretty much for this whole hurricane season so far. Except for the one where it formed right next door to us, Chantal, where it like formed right off the coast of South Carolina. That was really like the only one that was a bit different. The rest of these, though, have been pretty much just curving storms and just been fish storms. Now, does that mean that that's what we're going to receive all season? Absolutely not. We definitely will still have that shot. And this one right here, again, is still 10 days out, so that can still change as well. So for the most part, that's all I have to say on the tropics. Nothing else too much there, as I've been on the tropics probably for like a good 6, 7, 8 minutes or so. So I think that should about do it. Let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Almost should be every single day, but you know, a couple of days here to where it might be off here and there. But starting off, we have Mr. Chris, who says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know will help the channel. He's absolutely correct. We've had 21 people tune in tonight, and we only have 7 likes. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why we only have 7 likes, and we've had 21 people tune in. 14 people have not hit the like button yet. So go on and do so if you have not already. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. He also said it was a great day here in Moncks Corner, not too hot, and the breeze was light. Wasn't too windy today. Mr. Oliver says, good evening, nice day at my house. Pond is showing some more shoreline. I hope we can stay away from the 90s for a little while longer. You know, we didn't really talk about the temperatures tonight, but we might bring them up tomorrow. We might talk about what our future temperatures are looking like as we move through the end of this week going into next week. So we might talk about that tomorrow. My Aunt Lula then says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Mr. Anthony also says, good evening, everyone. I'm back tonight. Glad that you're back. Good evening to you. Mr. Oliver says, I sure hope the tropics stay quiet. Well, they aren't quiet, but quiet for South Carolina. You know, obviously, or pretty much quiet for the entire U.S., hopefully. But is the tropics quiet? No, not right now. They definitely still have some activity going on over there, like we've been talking about, 2 areas, and then maybe even another one that's behind it as well. And another thing that I was talking about as well, that kind of that system that was over there, which I'm going to move y'all to the black screen real quick, because I have to use this real quick. But the other area that I was watching for inside the Gulf, that one pretty much dissipated as well. I'm not really seeing that activity anymore. I kind of see like a little, maybe like a little disturbance, but it's not really anything in terms of like a low pressure or anything like that. It just kind of just looks like some regular moisture. So that area that I was watching for inside the Gulf is pretty much gone as well. Mr. Chris says snow already. Yes, up there in Montana, already receiving some snow already. Terrell says, greetings everyone, busy day for me. A little hot here today, let me see, for me it was around 86, at least my older weather station says around 86 degrees at my house today. My cousin Cheryl then says, good evening weatherman, hope all is well with you. Good evening everyone, I'm listening, I'm at work, so keep up the good work. Weatherman and everyone enjoy the rest of the week. Love y'all, thank you so much for that comment, and hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your week as well. But that's all for the audience. If you want to go on and leave a chat, you can. You just have to be a subscriber to the channel, because it's on subscriber only mode, so if you're not a subscriber, you cannot comment. Let's go on and talk about the 3 locations outside of South Carolina. What are they? Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those locations is because we have people from those areas that do in fact tune in. We'll also go on and check out my email as well, see if we have any pictures later. But starting off with Raleigh first, you have low temperatures tonight at 61, high temperatures tomorrow at 77, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 61 as well. There is a slight chance of rain tonight. No precipitation is expected at all tomorrow during the day and tomorrow night as well. Now in terms of severe weather, most likely no severe weather is expected. Excessive rainfall, though, I know you actually did have a chance for some excessive rainfall today, as that low pressure right there was actually getting pretty close. And for now, it's actually gone. So there's no chance for any sort of excessive rainfall for tonight or just for the next 5 days in general. So you're good there. But you know they could pop up at any time. For Philadelphia, now you have low temperatures tonight at 62, high temperatures tomorrow at 70, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 64. Showers are likely tonight and tomorrow night. So showers are definitely going to happen over there inside of Philadelphia. Now, in terms of severe weather, no severe weather is expected for you at all. No severe weather is expected for you at all. Excessive rainfall, though, no. Actually, yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow there is a marginal risk of excessive rainfall. Isolated flash flooding is possible tomorrow. So you do have to watch out for that. And then the final location being Duncan, Oklahoma. You have low temperatures tonight at 68, high temperatures tomorrow at 93, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 68 as well. No precipitation is expected tonight or tomorrow. And then in terms of severe weather, no severe weather is expected, and no excessive rainfall is expected. So that's it for the 3 locations. What's going on throughout the entire U.S.? A coastal storm will bring widespread rain, gusty winds, and shallow coastal flooding, rip currents, large surf, and possible aerial flooding over the mid-Atlantic region into Wednesday. Heavy rains and thunderstorms, some severe, will persist inside of the plains, specifically Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas. Above average temperatures are expected across much of the continental United States, except over the plains. We also still have those air quality alerts still out for Dallas-Fort Worth area, Houston, going into Memphis, going into St. Louis, southern Indiana, and southwestern Ohio, which, if I'm not mistaken, that is Cincinnati. Also all has an air quality alert out right now. But warmth is definitely to come, and definitely, I know Ms. Tolliver was asking, hopefully we don't get 90 soon. In terms of what the models that I'm looking at right now, 90 seem to be trying to make that return. We'll talk about that tomorrow, though. Fire weather also will be a bit of a concern as well up there inside of northwestern Washington near Seattle. But that's all that I have here. Nothing came inside of my inbox today, so I'm going to assume that we have no pictures for tonight. Nothing else inside of the chat, so I guess we are good there. Top fan, Mr. Chris at number 1, Trails at number 2, and then Miss Tolliver is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. So that's that. Make sure, like I said, go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We have 23 people that have tuned in and only 7 likes. So if you are a part of that 16 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. And like I said, also hit the subscribe button. We're at 583, trying to get to 617 away from that main goal. We have a lot still coming up. Remember, Thursday night we have the drought monitor coming out, and then I've been talking about it for like the past couple of days, but next week Sunday, on the 21st of September, we will talk about Hurricane Hugo and that recap for it. So make sure that you are there. Also, I will be asking for any sort of stories that some people may have from that storm. I may go on and put a little post out for it early if you want to go on and get the story all written down or something like that. But if you just want to think about something, you can. Obviously, I was not old enough to live that, so obviously I will not have any. But for any of y'all that do have any memories from it, definitely we're going to be asking for that on that night. So go on and start thinking about them if you have not already. But I will be back tomorrow morning with your Wednesday morning forecast update. We're almost halfway through the week. We just got to get through tomorrow. Make sure that you hit those 2 buttons.